Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the channel, The Way I See It, with your boy, Jamario Rashad. Um, I'm here today to bring y'all five, not the top five, not the most important five, not the most affordable five, a random assortment of five players that I believe could truly upgrade the Charlotte Hornets roster and could take LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges to the next level next year and make sure that what you see in the thumbnail doesn't happen for the third year in a row. So with that being said, we're going to get into it right after this.
I'm from the foe. You dig?
All right, man. So let's get right into it. All right, the first player that I want to highlight as a potential key that could help the Charlotte Hornets next season is none other than the 7-foot monster himself. I'm not gonna say Mo Bamba. Now, anybody that is a Charlotte Hornets fan, LaMelo Ball fan, or has showed any general interest in the Charlotte Hornets could see one glaring hole in the roster this year, whether it be in the offseason or especially when you were watching the games every night, and that was at the center position. We currently have Mason, I dream of being Nikola Jokic Plumlee, who believes that he has the ability to get the rebound, start the break, and become Magic Johnson all of a sudden. But that's not the case. So there's always been a glaring hole right in the middle of the Charlotte Hornets defense for a defensive center. Mo Bamba being 7 feet tall and the rim protector that he is, I believe that he could come in and play that role, fill that role immediately. And as a plus, he also has a very it's not full, it's not completely developed, but his offensive game is something that I believe could work very well with LaMelo Ball, the ability to catch and shoot, or the ability to just catch the ball and finish going to the rack. He is a little slight, but in comparison to what I see out of Mason Plumlee, I believe that he could be just. I believe that he can be Superman out there compared to Mason Plumlee. So I believe bringing in Mo Bamba with some size, the ability to knock down the shot, and the ability to actually catch and finish on the pick and roll with LaMelo Ball could really take this roster to the next level. And it's been something that's been apparent for years now, and it's a big hole that needs to really be filled. So moving forward, the second player I would like to highlight is none other than Mr. Ricky Rubio. I believe this Charlotte Hornets roster definitely needs to bring in a backup point guard. We started off this 21-22 season with Ish Smith, who came in and he had some exciting moments, but at the same time, he is Ish Smith. He is a journeyman for a reason, and he didn't come in and have the exact impact that you would want to have, especially with the developmental players and the lower tier players that we had coming in off the bench. They weren't facilitated to a point where they were able to be utilized to the best of their ability because the backup point guard didn't come in and play that role. It wasn't an effective job that was done with his minutes. Now, when the trade deadline came about, Ish Smith was then sent away, and we brought in another player who will be highlighted later on in this video. But when it came to the backup point guard situation, Mitch Kupchak decided to sign Isaiah Thomas. He initially got a couple of 10-day contracts and was eventually signed to the rest of the season. Isaiah Thomas came in and he was effective, but at the same time, recently fired is what I'm going to leave it at. Coach James Borrego would run sets of both he and Terry Rozier, which was just some of the most unbelievably crazy defensive. How could you even do that? They're two little guys that are both incapable of playing defense. But the most glaring thing that was wrong with Isaiah Thomas was he would come in 10 minutes he would get up at least 10 shots. Just similar to how I mentioned Ish Smith doing this, he wasn't able to come in and actually facilitate and bring any value or increase the value being a force multiplier in any way to the other players that were coming off the bench in those roles. Now, next year moving forward, I want to see a lot of James Bouknight. I expect to see James Bouknight, but as well for JT Thor and Kai Jones as well, these other younger developmental players, they need somebody that can come in and actually facilitate for them, make their jobs easier, and have everybody not out there playing ISO ball. Now, that doesn't work. The secondary unit, Cody Martin had a big year, but at the same time, I'm comfortable with whatever with Cody Martin. I believe bringing in Ricky Rubio to actually facilitate for the guys, to actually make plays, to actually keep those pick and rolls going, to actually have the ability to effectively run sets, and to just not have this being a bunch of high pace, high tempo hero ball while LaMelo Ball is off the floor. I believe Ricky Rubio could come in and actually play a great role in that. You can see his averages here in his 17 games against the Hornets. They pretty much match his career averages across the board, although his career averages are a little bit higher. Ricky Rubio would be an excellent addition as the backup point guard for the Charlotte Hornets. Moving forward, a player that I would like to see added for a few of the same reasons as Mo Bamba, but not all of the same reasons. If you follow Charlotte Hornets news, you'll be aware of the current coaching search that they are on after firing Mr. Fold his arms and not say nothing himself, James Borrego. We are now currently in talks with a few different coaches, but one of the names that has come up is Kenny Atkinson. If you can remember, Kenny Atkinson was responsible for the Brooklyn Nets teams prior to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant coming there. They actually made it with D'Angelo Russell and also a few years before that. Now, one of the players that I compared Nicholas Claxton to that was coached by Kenny Atkinson is actually current Cleveland Cavaliers center, Jared Allen. He actually made the All-Star game this year, and I honestly believe that Kenny Atkinson was probably responsible for a lot of the development that Jared Allen had early in his career. And physically, whether it be their size, their wingspan, and just their overall ability, right now, Nicholas Claxton reminds me of a young Jared Allen. And if he continues on the same trajectory, I believe that he can be Jared Allen. So if we do end up hiring Kenny Atkinson, I believe bringing in Nicholas Claxton to play that center role could 1 or 2 years down the road be super beneficial for the team. But for the immediate role, he's still a defensive upgrade over Mason Plumlee. He may not be the offensive player that Mo Bamba is, but I believe that he can come in and play that defensive center role, actually finish a few more pick and rolls, and actually just upgrade the team overall. And improve our chances of not getting blown out in the play-in game for a third year in a row. Now, moving forward and keeping on the trend of former Brooklyn Nets, I have to say that I've been having this debate with a lot of local Charlotte Hornets fans who seem to be fixated on Terry Rozier, but I've been having this debate for a while, and I've always felt like Karis LeVert is just an overall better player and would be a better fit alongside a big guard like LaMelo Ball in the long run, more so than Terry Rozier. As you can see here, his playoff stats in only 9 appearances, which Terry Rozier has a much larger sample size, but his points per game are like pale in comparison, and his overall impact has never been as high as Karis LeVert. And we also have to remember that in his playoff games, he was alongside Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Jalen Brown. The team that you see in the finals right now is who Terry Rozier was alongside when he was making these playoff pushes. So let's keep that in mind. Karis LeVert was alongside Karis LeVert, Jared Allen. You can go look up the rosters. It was the Boston Celtics. So being a bigger guard, and I say this is the most important point, being much more defensively sound and much more defensively capable than Terry Rozier. I believe he would just be a much more effective player on the floor when it comes to defense, which is something that the Charlotte Hornets definitely did struggle with. I believe the clutch shooting, which Terry Rozier gets lauded for a lot, is just about even with Karis LeVert if he was given the same opportunity. So I believe bringing him in to be a bigger guard alongside LaMelo Ball and a more defensively versatile guard could have a very good impact on the team, if not great. And I say, if we can do it, let's do it. Go ahead and bring in Karis LeVert. Now, the final player I want to talk about is actually somebody that's already on the roster, but their impact was felt so much that I don't believe it's any way that you can not re-sign this player, Mitch Kupchak. So when Trez came in halfway through the year, maybe a little bit more, whenever the trade deadline was, he had an immediate impact not only on the floor, which is what I will mention in a moment, but in the culture in the locker room, and you could see it in the swag and the way that the other players on the floor went about doing their business. They had a little more attitude to them. They had a little more. They had, like I said, they had a little more swag. The whatever dog that they were missing or whatever dog in them that James Borrego was suppressing. I believe having Trez in the locker room and having him on the floor brought that out of a lot of players. Miles Bridges for sure, definitely P.J. Washington. But you could just see the fight and the overall attitude that Trez brought to the team, and it was just an amazingly positive impact. Now, speaking strictly on the court, in the 2 years that LaMelo Ball had been in the league, there had not been any single player on this roster at all that was capable of running the pick and roll, effectively catching the creative and or bullet, whatever type passes that LaMelo Ball sends coming from the pick and roll. We've never had a player that could effectively catch them, go up strong, whether it be with a dunk or a layup, and finish through contact until we got Montrezl Harrell on this roster. The pick and roll that he was able to run with LaMelo Ball was amazing. He was dunking all over guys. He was finishing strong. He would get up. He would flex. He would yell. And you could just feel the energy in the arena. You could feel it through the TV. However you were consuming the game, you could just see that Trez was having a great impact on the team. So there's no way that I believe that there should be under any circumstance that Montrezl Harrell isn't allowed to continue to be a member of the Charlotte Hornets. He's from North Carolina. Clearly, he enjoyed being here. I believe he deserved a lot more time than he got last year. So, Mitch Kupchak, go ahead and do the right thing. Re-sign this guy. He's already in-house. You saw the impact that he had on your roster, and just go ahead and continue to let him pump him up. And let's take this into next year. Let's get that dog. Let's get that dog into JT Thor. Let's get that dog into Kai Jones. Let's keep this guy around. Let's let him culture set, and let's let him be a key piece moving forward. He still has some juice in him. I don't know what age he is, but as of right now, I honestly don't care. Let's keep Trez around and continue to let him be him, and hopefully it rubs off on some of these other players. But with that being said, that concludes my list. I really appreciate anybody that's taking the time to sit through and rock with me all the way to this point. On your way out, go ahead and leave me a like, but most importantly, leave me a comment. What do you think about my 5 players? Would you replace them with anybody? Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think that these players would actually tank the team? Do you think I'm a genius? You know what I'm saying? Anything that you leave, I appreciate it to help me with the algorithm. And with that being said, I'm not gonna take any more of y'all time. I appreciate y'all. This has been The Way I See It with Jamario Rashad, and I'm out.